So, wing tubes. In the last video, we actually finished up the framing, or the basic framing of the second wing panel. And now we're looking at the wing tubes in both, because the methods we're going to use for gluing them in, I want to do them both at the same time, as well as the fuselage, which you guys haven't seen for a long time, I don't think. So I'm going to bring you in a bit closer and show you what I've done, because in blue Pt10 style I've done one halfway, then I can show you the others. So yeah, I'll bring you in and show you this step. Okay, so wing tube. This kit, or the laser cut parts, were cut based on a wing tube of a certain size. I can't remember what size it was. By the time we came around to getting the kit and starting putting it together, that wing tube wasn't available at that size, so we had to get the nearest size to it. But that was slightly too small on the outer diameter of the phenolic. So what we've got to do is we've actually got to wrap the phenolic where it meets the rib in 64th ply. So what I've done is I've cut some strips, a good width to the rib, cut it cross grain so it's really flexible and can wrap round. What I've done is I've placed the tube in the correct place in the wing with the end flush. It's just that way just now because this isn't glued in yet, it's just in place. Marked a wing tube where they've got to be, and then taken it out, super glued these on, and then what we're going to do is we're going to actually run epoxy around all of these joints, twist it on its end so the glue sort of runs in and works its way, and then push the tube that way into position so this is just proud at the end so we can sand it back, which means all of these joints here, or not joints, the bands will be equidistant either side and it will support it. Once that's all dry, we're then going to run down the back here and all of these corner joints here where the wing tube meets the structural parts, both this side and that side. We're going to run a mix of thin epoxy with milled fibres to create a structural filler. It's only going to be enough just to bond the wing tube to the shear web and to the ribs, but that should create a nice strong joint both sides. So going to crack on now with doing the second one and come back to you when we're showing you what we're doing for the next bit. So that's the second wing tube dry fitted. It's a very snug fit, which is what I want. It's tight up to the shear web so that when we get the filler into it, the epoxy filler, it'll be a nice tight strong joint. So what we're going to do now is mix up an amount of our epoxy, put a blob in sort of there and there, twist it all the way around with it stood up at an angle so it gets all the way around the joints, and then slowly slide the tube into place and let it sit, dry with it sitting upright somewhere. Not quite sure where yet.
Yeah, just sit here.
Yeah, I can possibly sit it there, but again it's going to be sitting on that end. We'll figure it out one way or another. And then, oh yeah, okay, yeah. Yeah. So we'll get them glued in. We're also going to do the fuselage wing tube at the same time, it's the same process. And then probably tomorrow, because it's quite late now, tomorrow evening, maybe. Yeah. So tomorrow evening we'll probably be doing the filling part, certainly the one side of it, letting that go off, because as you said, tomorrow this video will be out long after, but tomorrow's a closing day for our giveaway, so well done whoever's won it. Thanks everybody for partaking. If you're watching this now, I think, what giveaway? Well, unfortunately you're too late. You have to go back and look at the other videos. We will at some point in the future be doing another giveaway. What sort of milestone?
5,000.
Yeah, probably do 5,000. So yeah, if you're watching this, want another giveaway done, let's get all the subscribers to 5,000 and we'll do another giveaway of something.
Potentially bigger and better. maybe.
I think it's going to have to be bigger and better,
Yeah.
to be honest.
I think more subscribers we get, it need to be bigger and better.
Yeah, exactly. So, anyway, we're going to get on with the gluing of this just now. Again, we'll put you back onto a time lapse, and hopefully it's going to work how I want it to. Okay, so I didn't do a time lapse of the fuselage bit, but basically it's the same process. We've got the wing tube with some 64th ply around it. What we've done is we slid on these double plates, I don't know whether you'll be able to see them, into the middle. We then put epoxy around the contact points, spun it round, so it got glue all the way around, put some glue on the contact faces of these doublers, slid them out, clamped them up, got all the glue to squish around, and then span the tube yet again to make sure the glue will spray out nicely throughout all of it. It's evenly spaced across the fuselage, and now you're going to leave that to go off. Over here we've got the results of the wings. Again, I don't know how well you'll be able to see. Put glue in all the 4 contact points, spun it round, and then squared it up to where it's meant to be sitting. And it's sitting this way now, so the glue will actually run down into the joint if it's going to run anywhere. Same on this one, obviously it's an opposite hand. But that is the wing so far, or the wing tubes so far. The next stage tomorrow, or whenever we do the next bit on these, is going to be mixing up some epoxy with some milled fibres to create a structural paste. We're then going to force that into the contact points. What I'll actually do is put some tape on the inside of the shear webs, so it can't easily run and push its way through into that. But that'll probably be tomorrow.
Yeah, probably tomorrow evening.
Yeah, quite possibly tomorrow evening, which will be seconds for you. But yeah, so we'll see you in the next bit. Okay then, so wing tubes are epoxied in place, left overnight. They're now solid around the joint to the tube. What I want to do now is reinforce the tube to the shear web. So the plan is to mix up some milled fibres, milled glass basically, into some epoxy, put it into our experimental piping bags, and basically pipe it in, keeping the wing at this sort of angle so it runs down where I want it to run down. I'm only going to be able to do like one side at a time, so there's going to be like 4 stages to doing each wing. So there's going to be this one, that one, that one, that one. So we get the different angles of how they sit and how it's going to run in.
So we're going to do that side, that side, that side, that side, and then that side, that side, that side, then turn it over and do the same on the
Yes,
other side.
this one's going to be one big one at this end.
Well, yeah.
So on this we're going to be doing here, here, here and here just now.
Yeah.
And then a similar idea on that wing.
And then tomorrow or later on tonight,
It'll be tomorrow.
do the other side.
Do the other side of this side, the other direction of this side, and then turn it over and do the other one. If this method works, we don't know yet. So we're going to mix up some jollop, get it into there, and try. And I'm going to put you on time lapse to do that. Right then, so piping bag idea worked. I'm not going to take credit for it, I'll sort it down somewhere else. But as you can see, I'll leave that there, we've got like a fillet put in, so the wing tube's going to be glued up to the shear web, which in turn is onto the spars. It's just to create a much stronger joint. We've done that on both wings, so once this is dried tomorrow, we'll be able to do exactly the same thing again on the other side, which means then the day after that we'll be able to see that doing something else. So we've done both the wings one side, we've done the fuselage wing tube going across the fuselage, so that's all done and curing. So I'll probably come back to you when we've got it all done. Okay guys, so we're still on with wing tubes here just now. What we've got now is the main wing tube on each wing panel is fully glued in. The rear wing tubes on both wings are fully glued in. Same method as before, just run some epoxy around them when they're still vertical, twist them around so the epoxy got whipped in, and then just left it to go off. We have added some big blocks in here. It'll become apparent how these are going to work, but this is going to be for wing retention. We've got a little bit of epoxy that's still soft just now, so we're going to take a blade and just trim them back. The next thing Ewan's going to do is the servos. Obviously this is the correct way up. The servo is going to be in from the bottom. What we need to do is create walls to the servo well that will meet the sheeting. And we do that on both wings. So here, for example, there'll be a piece going across there, somewhere there, somewhere there. So then the servo can just drop through it once the wing's fully sheeted. So again, we'll stick it on time lapse and crack on with it. Okay, so we now have two wings that are exactly the same state. Obviously the other one's over there. Wing tubes are fully fitted, front and rear. We've now got the what I call servo well supports. So this is going to support the sheeting around the opening for the servo. We've got the tip shape pieces fitted. There is going to be some more pieces to go in here.
Yeah,
I think we're going to have to put some balsa in here to support that and make the covering easier.
I think we're going to need to put a bit in here.
Well, certainly along this leading edge, I think.
I would have thought because the leading edge is that, but they're going to be across there.
Well, we'll see what it's like for when we get to that stage.
Yeah.
But both wings are exactly the same. So really the next thing to do is have a good think about how we're going to attack the sheeting. I suspect we're going to have to fit a leading edge first before we do any sheeting. And again, I've got to figure out what that sub leading edge is going to be. Might be just like 1/8 balsa or something. But I'll have to have a look at the other shapes that we've got to see what matches. And when we do that, what we'll do is we'll use that to pull everything square as best we can, certainly along the leading edge anyway. And then after that, it's doing the sheeting. I suspect we'll probably do the bottom sheeting first. Not sure. It's basically going to be whatever works out to be the best method and part to do to keep its shape and keep it flat and true. I don't know yet, to be honest. Once we've got the lower sheeting done at the back, we need to form out the ailerons, which isn't going to be much of a problem. There's a few things we need to do there as well. I'm just thinking about like hinges, hinge blocks. We need to put in aileron horn supports. Something we can actually screw into, like a piece of 3mm birch ply, and then there'll be a piece of other thinner ply on the outside, so it's like a crush and spreads the load. It reduces the crush force, the point load. So yeah, there's lots of things to think about, but it does mean we've got an aeroplane, or something that resembles an aeroplane, hey? Yeah. And it has seemingly got a lot bigger since it's been put together and out here. This camera doesn't do it justice. It's got like a bit of a fisheye lens on it. This maybe...
That's me.
Yeah, that maybe shows it better. Now I'm standing a good 6 foot away from this aeroplane just now. I think it's going to be a nice size aeroplane.
Yeah, I think it's going to be not massive,
but it's going to be a good size.
Yeah.
So you're happy with it, aren't you? Yeah. And yeah, really quite happy with the progress so far.
If you're liking this sort of content, give us a thumbs up. If you haven't already, subscribe, and I'll see you next time.